टाइटल है ना। इसमें इसमें टाइटल होगी तो डालते ना आप पहले। अब तो आप भी करना ना इसमें आईडी को लॉगिन आपने बोल दिया।
मेरे फोन में जाने पर कौन
घुस गई। सही आ रहा है।
ठीक है। सर इसमें लॉगिन करके
और जो लाइव चल रहा है उसको एडिट हो जाएगी इससे।
इससे हो जाएगी।
नहीं आ गया, आ गया।
आपने प्राइवेट करा हुआ था?
नहीं, वो उसका ओरिएंटेशन भी दूसरा था, वर्टिकल था।
दिस इज प्राइवेट।
मैंने भेज दिया।
अच्छा दूसरा बनाएंगे बनाना। इसमें क्यों नहीं आ रही? तूने लिंक भेजा ना ये।
I request everyone to keep your mobile phones on silent mode.
प्लीज आगे आगे
I repeat, I request everyone to please keep your mobile phones on silent mode.
वो तो हो गया
इधर हटा दो ऐसा इधर पे इधर बैठ लो सर
यहाँ
पीछे कोने में बैठे पीछे बैठे ना
I request all the participants to kindly rise at your seats to welcome our esteemed dignitaries. As our esteemed dignitaries takes their seat on the dais, we extend our deepest respect and a very warm welcome to each one of them. Their presence today adds immense dignity and inspiration to this gathering.
As Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam beautifully said, excellence is a continuous process and not an accident. Today marks one such step in our collective journey towards excellence. This conference stands as a confluence of ideas, and a shared vision for a just and progressive Viksit Bharat 2047.
Before we formally begin, let us take a moment to center ourselves in gratitude and national pride. We now move forward to mark the beginning of this inaugural session with Vande Mataram. I now request everyone to kindly rise for Vande Mataram.
Thank you, everyone. That was a moment of pride and reverence, reminding us of the spirit that unites us as a nation. Now I request our esteemed dignitaries to kindly come forward for the lamp lighting ceremony.
शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदम् शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदम् शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापं सत्यादीपनमोऽस्तुते ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः आरोग्यं देहि पुत्रांश्च पतिं स्वच्छामि मे सदा रवेरस्तं समारभ्य यावत् सूर्योदयो भवेत् रवेरस्तं समारभ्य यावत् सूर्योदयो भवेत् यस्य तिष्ठे गृहे दीपः तस्य नास्ति दरिद्रता शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
Light has always symbolized knowledge, clarity, and hope. And today, it also represents our collective commitment to ensure that technology becomes a light for justice and not a shadow over it.
That was indeed a graceful and meaningful beginning. Good morning, everyone, distinguished dignitaries, respected guests, esteemed faculty members, and dear participants. Generally, it is believed that law is not frozen in time, it evolves with us. This single thought reminds us of something very powerful. And today, as India moves forward on its journey towards a Viksit Bharat by 2047, this vehicle of life is entering a new era, an era which is shaped by artificial intelligence.
It is with immense pride and genuine excitement that I welcome you all to this conference. Artificial intelligence is not merely a technological evolution, it is a moral frontier. The true measure of its success lies not in its efficiency, but in its capacity to advance justice, dignity, and equality. With this, we now move to a moment of great privilege and honor, that is felicitating our distinguished chief guest and esteemed guests. It is our proud tradition to acknowledge and express our gratitude to those who elevates the significance of this conference. Today, we are truly honored to have such eminent personalities amongst us. With deep respect and appreciation, now we begin the felicitation ceremony. I request Madam Vice Chancellor of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar Law University to felicitate our chief guest, Honorable Justice Augustine George Massey.
किशन भैया
I now request Madam to felicitate our guest of honor, Dr. V. Vijay Kumar.
I now request Madam to felicitate our special guest, Professor Dr. Paramjeet Singh Jaswal.
And now, to take us deeper into the heart of today's conference, I warmly invite our respected Principal Sir and Conference Director of this event, Professor Dr. Gaurav Kataria, to kindly introduce the theme and guide us with his insightful words.
Honorable Mr. Justice Augustine George Massey Sahab, Honorable Mr. Justice Mohan Gare Sahab, respected Vice Chancellor Professor Mr. Jaswal Madam, respected Chairperson, Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Paramjeet Singh Jaswal Sahab, distinguished guest Professor Dr. V. Vijay Kumar Sahab, respected principals of various law colleges, distinguished professors, delegates, esteemed faculty members, dear participants and students. A very warm welcome to all of you in the international conference. I will now introduce the 10 sub-themes of the conference. But before I begin, however, it's my heartfelt duty to and proud privilege to acknowledge our esteemed Vice Chancellor Madam, Professor Dr. Nishtha Jaswal, whose indomitable spirit and profound vision have shaped this gathering for today. The theme you are about to explore are the result of long, rigorous, and times we discussed arduous discussions. That is the vision of Madam. So the cardinal belief of this conference is we want to make artificial intelligence a useful servant, not a dangerous master. So the first theme is on constitutionalism, digital governance, algorithmic accountability in the age of AI. So the algorithm is built by human inputs, but the constitution is not. It is built by human values. AI may process constitutional provisions faster than human beings, but constitutional morality still requires human intervention, human wisdom. AI relies on data, and if human provides biased data or erroneous data, the information, the algorithm can unintentionally learn it and regenerate it and replicate them. So it's about first theme. The second theme is about artificial intelligence, human rights, transformative social justice framework. So there is a battle between artificial intelligence and human intelligence. Artificial intelligence can calculate, predict, and process information far faster than any human, but it remains fallible when it is called upon unexpected real-life situations. So in that situation, we need human wisdom rather than data. Third theme is about criminal justice, surveillance technologies, and procedural fairness in the digital era. Our criminal justice system is overburdened with arduous mountain of pending cases. AI promises to make it much faster by helping judges through sentence recommendation tools, through predicting the bail risks, assisting investigation through facial recognition, surveillance. But what if AI itself is wrongful sometimes, and sometimes it commits crime? So who is culpable? The programmer, the state, or the machine? This is the question. The fourth theme is about data protection, cyber regulation, emerging digital privacy jurisprudence. Every time we use phone, we use app, smart devices, what we leave behind tangible trails. The personal data, the location, our health, our habits, even our thoughts. AI feeds on this data. This theme, the fourth theme, asks about who owns this data, who can use it, and how do we protect privacy in the world where information is the new currency. The fifth data The fifth theme is corporate governance, competition law, regulation of AI-driven digital economy. A few magnate companies, they dominate the AI of the world, shaping markets, choices, and opinion. Our law needs to adopt, ensure fair competition, protect consumers, and promote responsible corporate behavior in the AI-driven world. The sixth theme is about impact on AI-driven automation on socio-economic justice and the future of employment. So the CEO of Anthropic, you might be knowing about the name, Dario Amodi, he said up to 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs will disappear soon. So the debate is no longer about the AI will snatch our jobs, but it is already done. but the worst affected areas includes law and paralegal as well. The real challenge is now whether our student can adapt fast enough so that no student is left behind through reskilling, regulation and reimagining the future of the work. The seventh theme is about intellectual property, innovation, policy, ownership of AI generated creativity. So AI is writing poems, painting pictures, composing music, inventing new drugs. Who owns it? This is the question. The user who typed the prompt, or the company who built the AI, or no one at all. So the traditional copyright and patent law were made for human creators, and now they are become archaic. So we need to explore new intellectual laws. The eighth theme is about AI in public health, education, and welfare governance of inclusive development. Nowadays, we don't bother about getting answers. AI is there, but the problem is questions. With questions, we have to ask the questions, and our students are not capable enough to ask sufficient questions. So we need to prepare a student who can ask questions, optimize use of artificial intelligence. So our job as a teacher will never go away. The ninth theme is about environmental governance, climate justice and sustainable artificial intelligence. So the climate change is the gravest adversary of our generation. AI can help us, yes, fight by just to finding the prediction of floods, monitoring pollution, optimizing renewable energies, and protecting our forests. But AI itself is accused of a significant polluter. How? Because the AI model needs massive amount of electricity and water. The 10th theme is about global artificial intelligence governance, comparative regulation, and the future of justice system. So the governance may be driven by code, but justice cannot be calculated. Rather, it is about values and accountability. So lastly, I urge that artificial intelligence is one of the most profound tools humanity has ever created. But build AI to empower people, not overpower them. Our research, our questions, our fresh ideas will decide whether AI will serve Viksit Bharat 2047 or develop a just and inclusive India, or whether it will leave the weakest behind. So we look forward to welcome you in the upcoming plenary session and technical sessions. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful address on the theme, which has set a thoughtful and inspiring tone for the conference. Your perspective have truly enriched our understanding and will guide the deliberations ahead. It is now my esteemed privilege to invite Madam Vice Chancellor and patron of this conference, Professor Dr. Nishtha Jaswal, to kindly deliver the address and grace this occasion with her insightful words.
Honorable Mr. Justice Augustine George Massey, Judge Supreme Court of India, Professor V. Vijay Kumar, Professor Paramjit S. Jaswal, Registrar Sahab, Virendra Verma ji, Professor Gaurav Kataria, Principal, Subodh Law College, Dean Sahab, members of our statutory bodies, principals, Professor Bhandari, Dr. Vineet Singhvi, Dr. Komal, Dr. Vijay Kumar Singh, faculty members, and my dear students. It's my proud privilege to welcome Honorable Mr. Justice Augustine George Massey. Sir, I welcome you from the deepest core of my heart. Being a poet, my self-composed poem is overflowing out of my heart. आज आमंत्रित है एक अलौकिक व्यक्तित्व विश्वविद्यालय में। आज आमंत्रित है एक अलौकिक व्यक्तित्व विश्वविद्यालय में। प्रतिवादी बनी खड़ी है कृत्रिम बुद्धि, न्यायाधीश के न्यायालय में। सुस्वागत है अतिथि देवो भव के सुर में। सुस्वागत है अतिथि देवो भव के सुर में। शब्द चाहे मूक हो, मन भरा है। Heartiest welcome to Professor D. Vijay Kumar, former Vice Chancellor of NLIU Bhopal, and Professor Paramjit S. Jaswal, Vice Chancellor SRM University Sonipat. स्वागत है आज इस विश्वविद्यालय के प्रांगण में। स्वागत है आज इस विश्वविद्यालय के प्रांगण में पुनः शामिल इन शिक्षाविदों के आभार। I welcome principals, faculty members, other dignitaries. I also welcome the participants, the soul of this conference. स्वागत है भविष्य निर्माताओं का इस विद्या मंदिर। स्वागत है भविष्य निर्माताओं का इस विद्या मंदिर में। आए हैं बांटने और धारने ज्ञान हृदय के साथ। I also welcome in absentia Professor Oman Perez. He is not here. You will be hearing to his recorded speech. He could not come. Special welcome to members of media, whether they are here or not, because they are the source of giving our message to the society. लोकतंत्र के चौथे स्तंभ का हृदय से अभिनंदन है। लोकतंत्र के चौथे स्तंभ का हृदय से अभिनंदन है। समाज और संस्थानों के बीच बनी श्रृंखला का वंदन है। So I welcome all of you. At the very outset, I bow to the timeless wisdom of Mangal Mantra. Om Swasti Prajabhaya Paripalayantam Nyayen Margen Mahi Mahisha. May there be well-being of all. May all be protected. May the leaders protect the earth by following the path of justice and righteousness. And this we require when we are shifting to AI governance. Conference is not merely an academic gathering. It is a national, better to say global conversation at the crossroads of two of the most defining forces of our times, transforming power of artificial intelligence and the enduring quest for social justice. As India approaches 100 years of independence, Viksit Bharat 2047 is not merely a goal of economic prosperity, it's a commitment to inclusive development grounded in justice. And we can just look towards our preamble to the Constitution when we talk about justice, social, economic and political, equality of status and opportunity, and of course when we refer to dignity. We are standing in the university which is named after Baba Saheb Ambedkar ji. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar also reminded us, I quote, political democracy cannot last unless there lies at the base of it social democracy. Unquote. Government of India's vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. This is the vision of developed India by the centenary of our independence. It's an ambitious and inspiring roadmap. It envisions India as a prosperous, inclusive, and technologically advanced nation, a global leader in innovation, governance, and human development. Artificial intelligence is central to this vision. From precision agriculture to digital healthcare, from smart governance to accessible legal aid, AI holds the promise of transforming the lives of around 1.4 billion citizens, particularly the marginalized sections of the society. At this juncture, we must ask ourselves, in fact, I propose that the participants in the conference must grapple honestly with this question: will AI serve all of Bharat or only a privileged few? Will the algorithms of tomorrow perpetuate the prejudices of yesterday, or will they be designed to dismantle them? The answer depends not on the technology, but on the values, policies, and legal frameworks we build around it. I'm reminded of Sanskrit proverb in Arthashastra, Yatha Raja Tatha Praja. In the age of artificial intelligence, this ancient insight requires a new dimension. Yatha algorithma tatha shasanam. As the algorithm, so is the governance. Today, governance is no longer shaped only by institutions, but we know very well by code, data, and algorithms. And we know again, I'll say, we know very well that AI is not merely a technology, but a partner. Decision-making architecture, norm-shaping force. And question arises again, because at this juncture, we are full of questions only. Can intelligence without a consciousness govern justly? As we are shifting from human governance to algorithmic governance, we have to think about it that AI systems will influence, starting from welfare distribution to policy, surveillance, judicial decision support, financial inclusion, exclusion, public policy targeting. It raises foundational tension. That foundational tension, centuries old, in the times of Mahabharata, Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha. Dharma protects those who protect Dharma. So that means this test needs to be applied to AI governance also. Because in the constitutional democracies, law protects the people and institutions uphold law. But in AI governance, question is, who protects justice when decisions are made by a court? When all the decisions are made by courts. And we must accept and realize the transformative power of artificial intelligence. From healthcare diagnostics and predictive policing to financial inclusion and governance systems, AI is reshaping decision-making processes at every level. In India, AI has the potential to bridge gaps in education through personalized learning, enhance healthcare accessibility in rural and unreserved areas, improve agricultural productivity through predictive analysis, strengthen public service delivery and governance. However, technology is never neutral. It reflects the values, biases, and structures of the society that creates it. While AI promises efficiency, but mention about algorithmic bias, then we know there may be reinforcement of the evils of caste, gender exploitation, socio-economic discrimination, and unequal access to technology may exclude marginalized communities from the benefits of AI, what we call as digital divide. And there are surveillance risks also, risk of job displacement also. I'm reminded of the note of caution issued by Albert Einstein, I quote, "It has become appallingly obvious that our technology has exceeded our humanity." I unquote. The emergence of AI presents a constitutional movement. I'm a student of constitutional law, so I need to refer to it. Now, this constitutional movement is similar to what we had basic structure theory in Keshwaranda Bharti, or when we adopted a new American due process in Maneka Gandhi, and recognizing the right to privacy in case Traswami. The intersection of artificial intelligence and social justice is one of the most critical jurisprudential questions of our era. Across the world, we are witnessing how AI systems, when left unchecked, can replicate and even amplify existing social inequalities. Facial recognition technologies have been shown to misidentify persons of darker skin with alarming frequency. Algorithmic hiring tools have penalized candidates from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. Predictive policing has disproportionately targeted marginalized communities. So, our scholars, our participants must ask, Mr. Subodh also referred to this from the themes, who owns the data? Who designs the models? Who audits the outcomes? Who bears the cost of error? And who has a voice in the governance of these systems? This forces us to think and raise more questions. Can due process exist without human reasoning? Can equality survive biased data? Can liberty exist under constant surveillance? Again, we have traditional normative warning. Ati sarvatra varjit. Chanakya niti. Access, whether of power or desire, leads to destruction. And we know AI also exceeds in computational power without constitutional limits. In fact, we are standing at a crossroads, constitutional crossroads, where governance is no longer shaped only by laws elected in legislatures, but by algorithms designed in laboratories. So there is a need for AI constitutionalism, that is, body of constitutional principles, judicial doctrines, regulatory frameworks, etc. And the core pillars which must be included in this constitutionalism, they are human dignity, which at present we can call as digital dignity also. I'm reminded of Immanuel Kant. He talked about that humans must never be treated merely as means. Humans should be the ends. Tools should be the machines, AI. But what is going to happen? The human beings, they are going to be reduced to data sets. I'm not going into details. And if I refer to John Rawls, he talked about protecting equal moral personality. So, what is the need? Algorithmic systems must avoid bias, protect minorities, preserve equal access to opportunity. So, what is required? Algorithmic decisions must be predictable, transparent, reviewable, done by man, but at least must be on the loop, should not be totally excluded. And to align AI with social justice, we must focus on ethical AI governance, where there must be transparency, accountability, fairness, non-discrimination, protection of privacy and data, inclusivity in designs, and what I talked about, human oversight. And in fact, we can imagine something even today, but criticizing this AI, we just imagine. AI systems will identify beneficiaries of welfare schemes with precision and can we imagine? Smart legal aid platforms will reach the most remote villages. Imagine more. Predictive tools will help prevent social injustice rather than reacting to them. Mind it, this is not utopia. This is achievable. We must be committed to it. And we must realize the dangers of over-reliance on AI, and we must have the regulatory measures. Finally, I want to promise and take a promise from you also. Let us ensure that in our pursuit of intelligent machines, we do not lose our humanity. Let us build an India where technology does not replace justice but reinforces it. Let us work together to create an AI-driven future. And finally, I conclude, as all of you are aware, I'm a poet by heart. Poem on AI. अंकों को नहीं है पहचान आंसुओं, अंकों को नहीं है पहचान आंसुओं की, मानव प्रतिरूप को नहीं विजेता भय की। अंगुली से सर्वेक्षण का जो बटन दबाया, अंगुली से सर्वेक्षण का जो बटन दबाया, तथ्यों के आंकड़ों से भी ऊपर चेहरा नजर आया। कलन विधि जान जाती है नाम हमारा, कलन विधि जान जाती है नाम हमारा, स्वभाव अपेक्षाएं और मुख दर्द हमारा। यह भविष्य वक्ता प्रदान करता है अंकों की गणना, यह भविष्य वक्ता प्रदान करता है अंकों की गणना। क्या है क्षमता इसमें जानने की मानव मूल की रचना? कभी हाथों से लिखते थे नियम कानून, कभी हाथों से लिखते थे नियम कानून के, अंतःकरण से निकलते थे आदेश कानून के। आज तर्क गुनगुनाता है सुनसान आबादियों, आज तर्क गुनगुनाता है सुनसान आबादियों में, नट वादियों में। अनदेखी योजनाएं निर्णय लेती हैं खामोशियों में। चेहरे और व्यक्तित्व ढल गए अंकों और रेखाओं में, जीवन दब कर रह गए बिंदुओं से अंकित सखाओं में। क्षमता गति के सुरीले गीत गाती है, क्षमता गति के सुरीले गीत गाती है, किंतु गरिमा अग्रिमा होना चाहिए। स्वतंत्रता विकल्प में होती है, ना कि संकेत में, ना ही पूर्ण रूप से पूर्व निश्चित या प्रदत्त रास्ते में। तो कथन है सत्य, तंत्र हो चाहे विवेकशील, नहीं शासन से भंग कर सकता अंतःकरण का शील। जहाँ व्यक्ति की आवाज मसल दी जाती है, जहाँ व्यक्ति की आवाज मसल दी जाती है, संविधान की आज्ञा प्रभुत्व से असल हो जाती है। This is an appeal to all of you. याद रखो डेटा और प्रोग्रामों की दुनिया के वासियों, याद रखो डेटा और प्रोग्रामों की दुनिया के वासियों, कृत्रिम बुद्धि बन के रहो मानव मन की दासियों। Finally, I pray to God, हे ईश्वर संस्कारों से लिपटी रहे गरिमा हमारी, हे ईश्वर संस्कारों से लिपटी रहे गरिमा हमारी, ना हो अनदेखी न अनछुई, ना हो अनदेखी न अनछुई, न गुप्त संकेतों से सर्वे भवन्तु।
There could not have been a better beginning of this conference than the beautiful points presented by Madam Vice Chancellor, welcoming all the dignitaries and the participants, and also describing the future with AI. Thank you, ma'am, for that truly inspiring and insightful address. Your guidance and vision have set a meaningful tone for this conference and inspired us to engage with the theme with greater depth, responsibility, and purpose. Now, moving forward, it is my privilege to introduce our special guest, respected Vice Chancellor of SRM University, Sonipat, Professor Dr. Paramjeet Singh Jaswal, who brings with him over 42 years of experience, teaching experience, and 44 years of research experience. He has been honored with several prestigious recognitions.
A very good morning to all of you. Honorable Mr. Justice Jawad Masiji, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar Law University, Dr. Gaurav Kataria, the Principal of the Subodh Law College, my brother colleague Professor Vijay Kumar, former Vice Chancellor of NLU Bhopal, and Dr. Ambedkar Tamil Nadu Law University, Chennai. The Registrar of the University, Virendra Kumar Verma ji. In front of me, the galaxy of dignitaries, Mr. Manish, Senior Advocate, Professor Bandhari, Dr. Kobal, Dean MIT Law School, Professor Vijay Kumar, Dean Law, SRM University, principals of various colleges, faculty members, and very dear students. I'm in a real dilemma, and I think we have a judge, he will pardon me and take me out of the dilemma. You all understand and you all know it is very difficult to speak in the presence of a wife. And it is more difficult to speak after the wife has spoken. And I have both the things. Professor Nishtha Jaswal has already elaborated in detail about the topic, and Dr. Gaurav Kataria also has explained the theme very well. So many things are going to be replicated. I'll try not to repeat what he said, but I can't avoid at certain places the replication or duplication also. The title which is given to me to speak today is Artificial Intelligence and Social Justice, Pathway to Viksit Bharat, which more or less resemble with the 8th theme which Gaurav Kataria has mentioned in his introduction. If we dissect the anatomy of the very title, Artificial Intelligence and Social Justice, it consists of two expressions. Artificial intelligence, one. Second is social justice. Third one is the aim to have pathway to the Viksit Bharat 2047, to which I will talk later on. But if we dissect the anatomy of the first two expressions, it is very clear. Artificial intelligence is always artificial. It cannot be natural. It is artificial. That is the name goes. When we talk about social justice is a very wide term. It includes the justice of all kinds, and our preamble and promise, one of the pillars, say justice, social, economic, and political, that has to be taken into consideration. Social justice cannot be considered or taken into consideration just by one aspect of the justice system. The true measure of a progress will not merely be technological advancement, but rather such advancement ensures equity, inclusion, and justice for all sections of the society. The most outstanding development of the 21st century has been that we have seen very fast changes. Particularly, if we talk about the Viksit Bharat in 2047, that by that time we will be one of the most developed country, then we have to take into consideration the development of its economy. And there are three forces which converge together to change the economy of any nation. One is automation, which led to the mechanical shift in the industrial development. Other is digitalization, which led to the computerization, which we are using, say, 30 years back or 30, 40 years back probably. Most of us never touched the computer, but today the smartphone is in our hands or in our pocket, and we all are using either a computer or a laptop or an iPad, whatever may be. And the third one is the artificial intelligence, regarding which we are going to talk about. The artificial intelligence forces a societal crossroads. If you take the artificial intelligence capabilities, system is capable of learning, reasoning, and decision making. Now, it has two aspects. One is the yet negative, or if I may not call it a negative, is the one aspect which is yet to develop, which is yet to crystallize. That is, it deepened the divides. What Professor Nishta was explaining in her address, that unequal benefit amplified historical exclusion. The positive side is there are chances of reducing inequality, and it is in this direction we have to consider the development of artificial intelligence, that whether it has a fair treatment, inclusive, transparent, and accountable. The fundamental question remains before us is who benefits from artificial intelligence and who gets excluded. The dual nature of a logarithm implementation, as you know, that artificial intelligence is a tool which we have to use. So the dual nature is of a logarithm implementation, because if you give a good data, good artificial intelligence come out. If you give a bad data, the bad intelligence, artificial intelligence come out. So I compare the two. First one is enabling the inclusion. I have taken 4 general areas out of the different themes which are prescribed for this conference, which Dr. Gaurav also mentioned while introducing the theme: healthcare research, education parity, agriculture stability, and governance transparency. On the threat side, challenges side, threats to equity. There may be algorithm bias. There may be digital divide. There may be unchecked surveillance. And there is already a point which is being talked about in the society or in the different nations is job replacement. I'll try to consider all these things one by one. But ultimately, these are the two scales of a balance which will determine whether we have the intentional governance or institutional governance based on AI. The divergent paths of the sector implementation are, I take the healthcare, access may be limited to the urban centers. It may exclude those who are without a digital footprints. India is a vast country. Everyone is not having access to the digital technology. So the digital divide, that is the unchecked AI, the risk factor is there. The opportunity is AI may help in diagnosing and reaching the rural area which lacks the human doctors, the early detection of the tuberculosis and the cancer, and saves the hundreds and thousands of lives. The education, it widens the gap of the community lacking the basic hardware. I hope you all remember, and particularly the students, you may be in the schools those days when the COVID came to this world. India was one of the countries we never allowed our any academic year to be lost, and we provided education online. But simultaneously, there were news that 68% of the schools did not have the internet connectivity. Schools include the higher colleges also. So that divide will remain. Only those which have the access to the internet, that will only be able to take the benefit. So it may be a personalized learning platform, bridge quality gaps for the underprivileged student, and majority of them may be left out. Agriculture credit scoring denies loans to the marginalized farmers. On the advantage side, we have the advisories providing localized crop prediction, that is the weather forecast and the market access. On the governance side, automation obscure bureaucratic bias and reduces the human accountability. On the positive side, enhances the transparency, reduces the corruption, and delivers data-driven public devices. Today in the morning, I shared one WhatsApp message to my near and dear ones, and that was a satire on the present political situation. Take it in the positive way, lighter way, not in the real sense, that in Bengal, the people are waiting for the resignation. In Tamil Nadu, the people are waiting for the appointment. In Kerala, the Malayalis, they have the appointment and they have the resignation, but they don't have the name. Can the artificial intelligence fulfill all these gaps? So such are the questions in the real governance. The anatomy of algorithm bias, this is the real picture before us. You can see in front of your screen. The historical inequalities are there, data reflecting the existing disparities based on caste, gender, and economic status. That data is felt into, and it is in a black box. Black box is where AI is operating. Now, whether this data which is there in the black box, it is system trained or unaccurate or unrepresented data or the real data. AI system do not create the bias, they replicate and scale it to unprecedented scale, and that may lead to ultimately amplified societal inequality. That is the biggest danger. After even more than 75 years of our commencement of the Constitution, which ensured to all of us right to equality, we are still fighting with the historical divides on caste and gender. You know how the bill to give to empower women, that could not be ultimately become a reality in the parliament. All parties are saying that there should be reservation for women, but in the parliament, the parties are divided. The caste bias, we say we are a secular state, we are not following any religion, but you know it, how the elections are being fought on the basis of caste, religion. So those divides and those issues will be the biggest issue before the AI. We have a wonderful constitution. Each and every provision of the constitution is supporting the equality and tries to reduce the digital divide or other divides. Particularly, we talk about right to equality, which demands non-discrimination or logarithm, fair distribution of technological benefits. On the other hand, we have a right to life. Right to life protects citizens against the mass surveillances and ensures dignity in the digital age. Thanks to our Supreme Court, in the last decade, the right to privacy, right to life has been elevated to one. But the question is whether we can protect these rights if everything which is in the governance is to be dependent on the data itself. It is already being debated that we can draft a petition or we can draft even a judgment through the AI, and that is what is being happening. But the Supreme Court has very heavily come down on it that drafting is different through AI, but the justice cannot be delivered through AI. Because that empathy, that personal interpretation of the different provisions, I can refer to one of the provisions of the Constitution, Article 142, where the Supreme Court of India has the power to do complete justice by interpreting the provision in the best interest of the parties before it. Now, AI will not be able to do it. It is the human mind in the form of the honorable judges of the court who man the court, they will be able to do. The existing architect of the ethical technical policy is the global principle. How do we bring ethics into the technology age? For this, we need a national strategy, and already the work is being done. For example, Niti Aayog says that AI and all focusing on the inclusive growth. UNESCO guidelines are there. European guidelines are there. We have a DPDP Act, an Information Technology Act, which are trying to control the technology. But the biggest challenge before us is, by the time we've come out with these guidelines, the rules and regulation to regulate the AI or the technology has moved much faster ahead of it. And we come out with the amendment after amendment. So the law remains uncertain, not only to the individual or the lawyer. Manish, he can tell us better about the real practice, but it becomes difficult for the judges too. Because the speed of the technology is much faster as compared to the speed with which we frame the rules and regulation. The domestic strategy and global principles, though they are trying to align on a single metric of success, the inclusion of marginalized remain the basic question. Spanning the gap to inclusive growth, current reality, we have 5 pathways to cover it, and these 5 pathways, if they are considered in alignment with each other, they will lead to the justice or the social justice. The first pathway is to have the inclusive data and design, developing training database and actively represent India's vast diversity across regions, languages, marginalized community. Pathway 2 is strengthening our digital structure. You know it as the whole AI is the data driven. So the digital infrastructure has to be strengthened, without which even the AI will not be able to move with the speed with which it is already moving. Pathway 3 is ethical AI regulation. I just spoke to you that we need a control mechanism, establishing a robust legal framework that enforces the transparency, accountability, fairness within the deployed AI system. The 4th pathway is skilling and reskilling. I did mention that there is a fear in the minds of the people that if AI comes, there will be a job replacement. To the young minds, I would like to say, don't have any fear. AI cannot replace the human mind. There will be no dearth of the jobs, even AI is integrated with the governance. But the difference is, if you simply have the degree without no skill, you will definitely lose the job. But if you have a degree, and degree is coupled with skilling, and not only skilling, you are continuously reskilling yourself, then only you will be able to compete with the AI. So skilling as well as reskilling, both are important. The human element and democratization deployment, the community, we have to have a data scientist, we have to have a policy maker, we have to have a technologist. AI cannot be deployed in a vacuum. We must include affected community directly in the decision-making process regarding the technology that will govern their lives and their livelihood. The engineered ecosystem, I'm coming to the final conclusion. If you see, there are certain basic requirements they have to be taken into consideration if we have to deal with the threats or the challenges which are being posed by the AI. That is the data, the infrastructure, the regulations, the skilling and reskilling part, and ultimately the participation. And above all, what Professor Nishtha Jaswal said in her address, that we have to keep in mind our constitutional values, which are enshrined in the Constitution in different parts, but particularly in Article 14 and Article 21. If we have these things together, then the AI will help us in healthcare sector, in education, in agriculture, in governance. And if we have all these 4 parameters where AI is helping us, we can surely, I can say it with a full sense of responsibility, that surely and surely we will have a Viksit Bharat 2047. We have to have India as a global moral anchor. We have to uplift the technology acts primarily as an engine to elevate the marginalized rather than the luxury for the privileged. AI cannot be the tool for a few, it has to be for all. We have to respect the dignity. Relentless technological innovation is strictly aligned with the preservation of human dignity and the individual liberty, like right to privacy has been one of the biggest challenges in the AI system. And ultimately, it is the long-term plan, it is not the short-term plan, and that is why we call it a sustainability. Economic and technological growth is fundamentally inclusive, leaving no rural and vulnerable community behind. Artificial intelligence is not inherently just or unjust. It reflects the values of those who design it and who deploy it, because it is data-based. So therefore, the responsibility lies with the policymakers, technologists, and the society to ensure that AI is a tool for empowerment, not exclusion. Let us commit to an ecosystem that upholds justice and equality for every citizen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for impactful address highlighting challenges posed by artificial intelligence, including digital divide, gender inequality, and growing gaps between have and have-nots, and also emphasizing on skilling and reskilling of human force in the era of artificial intelligence. On that enriching note, we now have the privilege of introducing our esteemed guest of honor, Dr. V. Vijay Kumar, Professor of Eminence and Advisor in the School of Law, Ramaiah University. He is the former Vice Chancellor of National Law Institute University, Bhopal. He has also served as the Vice Chancellor of Dr. Ambedkar Law University, Chennai. May I now request sir to kindly address the gathering.
Mr. Justice Augustine Judge Masi, Judge Supreme Court of India, our friend Justice Mohan Patis, who is virtually representing it, Madam Nishtha Jaswal, the Vice Chancellor of this university, and my friend Paramjit Jaswal, Vice Chancellor, SRM University, Sonipat, my friend Mandari who just went out, Dr. Komal, Dr. Jain, Ms. Manish Singhi, principals, faculty members, and the students. Dr. Gaurav Kataria, I'm sorry, I just missed it. Good morning to everyone. It's indeed, this is the 4th or 5th conference that I'm attending on artificial intelligence and law. But this is little deviated, artificial intelligence and social justice. And we are all talking about, my presentation will be based on what is social justice, maybe a couple of minutes. And then what is this artificial intelligence? Everyone is speaking about it, but what is it? And then the digital divide that Mr. mentioned, with some statistics I would like to find out and question our understanding of the digital divide. And finally, in the field of law, what happens? Right? AI in the field of law. When I say field of law, teaching, practice, and also judging. Today we are talking about privacy. I don't know who should demand privacy and why should they demand privacy. Because the moment we have a digital device in our hand, I think we're all monitored from somewhere. We don't see it, but we're all monitored, and I think that is in one sense, it also creates efficiency in one sense, because some of the crimes committed were identified within few hours using and tracking, the mobile phone usage and everything. So there are benefits. And somebody asked, what is this artificial intelligence? Then somebody, this is the best way to explain. Where is God? God is everywhere. But can you see it? No, we can't see it. And so is artificial intelligence. It is everywhere. Whether you see it or not, feel it or not, it is either controlling you or you are controlling that for your own purposes. Right? That is the breadth and depth of artificial intelligence today, and therefore we can't wish it away. And therefore, in our teaching, in our practice, and in judging, we need to use artificial intelligence, and I'll just come to that a little later. Before I begin, I would like to appreciate the Vice Chancellor of this university, Professor Nishta Jaiswal's grit in overcoming the serious accident a couple of years ago, and the spirit of resurgence and commitment to legal education, which deserves a rich appreciation and a round of applause from the audience. And that is why when she asked, will it be possible for you to come, I didn't want to say no, because this gives an opportunity to see and inquire about her health and other things. That's one part of it. At the beginning of the Constitution, 184, that is 25th November 1949, Dr. Ambedkar was delivering his farewell speech. He tried to define many things, but he made a mention about two things. Because in one go, under Article 326, we are given political democracy. Every citizen of this country, 21 years in those days, now 18, without any discrimination, rich, poor, black, white, short, tall, right, man, woman, any religion, any caste, without any discrimination, every citizen will have the right to vote. And therefore, what he observed was, we have created a political democracy in no time, and from 26 it will be a reality. But he also cautioned that this political democracy will not sustain for long if social democracy is not brought into being. And as you all know, India culturally, traditionally, socially was divided into various castes, religion, sub-castes, right? And I think the number of castes have increased rather than decreasing. And this creates, which is supposed to be a leveler, right? The identification of caste was supposed to be a leveler, but it has become a vested interest today among every caste, every group. Therefore, unless and unless you have three important aspects: liberty, equality, and fraternity, as mentioned in the preamble, and if this cannot be achieved, I don't think we can retain the political democracy era. And then that's what he said. On 26th of January 1950, we are going to enter into a life of contradictions. In politics, we will have equality, and in social and economic life, we will have inequality. So therefore, he has identified what is meant by social justice in this following few phrases which I would like to mention. For Ambedkar, the concept of social justice stood for these three phrases: liberty, equality, and fraternity for all human beings. No class, no creed, whatever it is. But the concept of social justice is much broader than the phrase justice. Justice is specific, social justice much more broader. The word social is connected with society. The scope is wide, including social issues, problems, and reforms. Thereby, it encompasses social and economic change. Hence, it calls for social engineering, which is an attempt to change the society in order to deal with social problems. Such socio-economic changes can be brought only through law, not the revolution. And that's what it was very clear about. There are other definitions of social justice. I will not get into the details of that. But Ambedkar mentioned that there are three essential conditions that make liberty real. They are social equality, economic equality, and the third one is access to knowledge. I would like to take up only the last one, access to knowledge. He also mentioned that social justice, equality would be mainstay of a modern society, right? He argued that social justice alone could lead to social harmony, social stability, and patriotic feelings of all individuals in society. Generally, the term social justice refers to justice or a just and fair system in terms of distribution of wealth, opportunities, and privileges within a society. Let me just take a couple of minutes to explain what artificial intelligence is. Among all the literature I referred to, they are all starting off with the knowledge or with the phrase artificial intelligence as if that we can understand. Right? We can understand only part of that meaning of artificial intelligence. In 2023, two states which discussed about the use of artificial intelligence in the legal sphere. The first opinion was delivered by the Michigan state in the US, and that explains artificial intelligence beautifully. I thought I will share it with you. I quote, "Artificial intelligence is not a single piece of hardware or software, but a multitude of technologies that provide a computer system with the ability to perform tasks, solve problems, draft documents that would otherwise require human intelligence." So it is trying to substitute the human intelligence to the extent that is possible. And I was also, in Times of India, there was a cartoon, very beautiful cartoon. Somebody takes a stick and then starts beating the robot. And the robot says, "Please wait till I start feeling the pain of the beating." Right? Because once I start feeling the pain, then I will also retaliate. That's what it was trying to say. Right? Now, the impact of social justice, A on social justice, Masisha Rahman, in his article, Artificial Intelligence and Social Justice, he observed that artificial intelligence is a rapidly growing field that has the potential to impact the society in profound ways. While AI has been touted as a solution to many social problems, it is important to recognize that it can also perpetuate existing inequalities and injustice. So on one side you have the advantages, and the other side they will further perpetuate existing inequalities and injustices. AI systems have being shown to replicate and even amplify biases related to race, gender, and other social factors. Therefore, it is essential to consider the social justice implications of AI development and development in order to ensure that AI benefits equitably across communities. And that seems to be what Dr. Nishta Jaswal briefly mentioned as the digital divide. And what is the digital divide? We'll try to find out, right? The Supreme Court, through the Center for Research and Planning, has released a white paper in 2025, November 2025, collectively aimed at advancing reforms to strengthen access to justice, enhance court efficiency, and ensure greater accountability within India's judiciary. The report recognizes the immense potential of AI in reshaping legal processes while reinforcing the need to safeguard constitutional values, procedural fairness, and fundamental rights. Now, when they speak about these developments, the Supreme Court itself has now translated many of the judgments into more than 13 languages. They are all accessible. E-filing has become now of the day. But on the other side, some of the lawyers and the Lawyers Association in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, they were on protest. They were on strike. They never wanted e-filing system to take place. And that is exactly the digital divide that we are talking about. On one side, we are going faster. On the other side, there is what you call it as the inability of these people to cope up with the technological development. How many lawyers have access to computers, right? They may have a mobile phone. I don't know whether using the mobile phone, how many things that they can do. There is a limit. So therefore, this divide needs to be bridged, and that can be bridged only through education and training. And we are responsible as educators, as teachers of law. I think we are responsible. We have to thoroughly revamp the process of legal education. And my sincere observation in the presence of the sitting judge of the Supreme Court, I don't think the Bar Council has the capacity to do that work. It must be left to the academics, and or it must be done with all the three players, the academics, the lawyers, and the judges, sit together and propose and revamp the entire process of legal education, without which our lawyers will not be in a position to move forward in the global scenario, because you will be in a position to practice cross-border in the years to come. If you have access to that information, the language, and the connect that you require, possibly you can practice anywhere. A number of opportunities are available, and that's what one of the speakers spoke before me, that it will not displace lawyers, but it will displace lawyers who will not have the practice of artificial intelligence, right? The skilling, and that skilling needs to be done, right? Now, I have brought lots of information. I will not get into it. The digital divide part of it, as I mentioned, education and digital literacy will go a long way, right? The Ministry of Communication, Government of India, as of April 2024, under the Digital India Initiative, the government has taken several initiatives, not only in the metros, but also Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, as well as rural and remote areas. As of March 2024, out of a total internet subscribers of 954.40 million in India, there are 398.35 million rural internet subscribers. Further, as of April 2024, out of 6,44,131 villages in the country, villages data as per the Registrar General of India, 6,12,952 villages are having 3G or 4G mobile connectivity. We have 5G in cities, and we are also planning to have 6G, right, in the next stage of development. Thus, 95.15 villages are having access to internet. This is an important point that we need to understand, that it is creating digital divide. On the contrary, now the facilities are created, rural areas have better connectivity, and then what comes thereafter is that the use of internet by the rural population is 2% higher than the urban population. I think the digital divide is reversed now. The urban population possibly is not using it much as they are doing, and I think the UPI payment system has revolutionized the entire system, and therefore you cannot stop the growth of artificial intelligence either in this country or anywhere else. But I would like to a word of caution. There is also a need for us to look at the thing that is not included here in this panel, the themes, use of artificial intelligence in warfare, right? And I think this is going to create havoc, and if you don't control, if you don't regulate, I think it can also, the biases that we are talking about can all be incorporated, right? I just visualize that it can also say that you please identify those who are black, right? And then kill only, only those people. It is possible. It is possible for them to do it. So these dangers, and that is a place where the policymakers, the lawyers and judges should come together to create something where the human beings will be allowed to live with human conditions of life and therefore we have to keep artificial intelligence as our servant and never allow that to become our master. And that is why I was sharing this joke sent to me by WhatsApp by somebody else without specifying the author. If only we tell the people that brain that you have is also an app, they may possibly start using it, right? Okay. Now with these developments, today any crime is also transnational. People are sitting in Nigeria and they are, taking all the wealth of people who are sitting all over the world. And therefore, what is the response for international, jurisdictions? Now, in 2024, September 2024, the General Assembly adopted what you call it as Pact for the Future. Remember, right? 13th September 2024, in which Annexure 1 in that document speaks about digital compact. Now, I would like to just read one part of that global digital compact. We means the globe, the entire world, recognize that the pace and power of emerging technologies are creating new possibilities, but also new risks for humanity. New possibilities, simultaneously risks for humanity, some of which are not yet fully known. At the world level, they do not know what is going to happen. We recognize the need to identify and mitigate risks and ensure human oversight of technology in ways that advance sustainable development and the full enjoyment. So ultimately they want to bring the protection through the notion of human rights, which is spread all over the world today. Our goal is an inclusive, open, sustainable, fair, safe and secure digital future for all. This global digital compact sets out the objectives, principles, commitments and actions we undertake to achieve in the non-military domain. But what we are witnessing today, right? If you sit before the television, you will see the use of this artificial intelligence in the military domain. So the focus is on non-military domain, right? One among the 5 objectives of this global digital compact is enhancement of international governance. This is something which we have to appreciate. An enhancement of international governance of artificial intelligence for the benefit of humanity. And I think law is silent on this. Enforcement is yet to begin, and therefore the students, the Gen Z students must do the research on this enhancement of international governance of artificial intelligence for the benefit of the humanity. Right? Now, in that, I will not get into the details of these 5 objectives, right? But the impact is so bad. Today, a couple of changes are taking place. I don't know how many of you have heard about this Tesla. It's an electric car, and it is a driverless car also, you can say that, but people are not willing to use it. They are a little worried about their own life. They enjoy driving it rather than, it's a wonderful tool. I also traveled in that for some time. They are coming out with the Tesla mobile phone, right? And I think if you don't get the information, please check the Google and find out Tesla mobile, what it can do. No need of a SIM card, no need of any connectivity. Whether you have this or that, it will work. But whatever you do, whatever you command, I think all of them will be recorded somewhere, and the end-to-end encryption will come to an end. And I think it is a reality. One service provider has already indicated from end of May, end-to-end encryption will go. What will happen to your privacy? Huh? Yeah, so these are all issues which, as lawyers, we may not understand the technical aspect of it, but we must attempt. A lawyer is one who can specialize in every field. The moment one enters into the field and starts understanding these aspects. So therefore, the digital, one aspect of these 5 objectives, possibly the third objective I would like to mention, we must urgently counter and address all forms of violence, including sexual and gender-based violence, which occurs through or is amplified by the use of technology. All forms of hate speech and discrimination, misinformation and disinformation, cyberbullying, and child sexual exploitation and abuse. We will establish and maintain robust risk, mitigating and redress measures that also protect privacy and freedom of expression. I think the area of research, or area for research, for the lawyers and for everyone is so vast, and ultimately we are looking at child safety. These are all social concerns, and therefore today Australia was the first country to say that social media access to children less than 16 years is not allowed. European countries started following it. Some of the states in America has already started using it, because they become zombies once they rely upon that. And I hope you must have seen that 3 girls living in Delhi who thought they were belonging to South Korea and ultimately committed suicide. Right? So I think there are impacts which we need to look at, and that is how we can bring law in tune with the development in protecting the rights and liberties of these people. I'll just take the concluding 5 minutes on the use of technology in the field of law. I was making a mention about the use of technology. In a case, Marta versus Avianca, a lawyer, a New York lawyer, Ms. Lee, quoted 6 judgments, and the respondent could not even have access to 3 out of 6 judgments. So we asked the judges, we do not have access to these judgments. And the judges in turn asked the petitioner lawyer, can you provide the information relating to these three? She readily agreed. Next day she would provide, and she appeared next day and said, I'm sorry, I'm not able to locate these three judgments. How did you code this? She said, I used ChatGPT. Right? Did you ask? And the judge was even more worse. The judge asked the question, did you ask the question to ChatGPT whether the information that it gives is right? It is giving the information, will it say it is wrong? It will only say as available, right? And there is nothing new. I think all the students will know. We teach the state of Kerala, right? And in the examination, you forget one title, at least we say Keshwana Bharati's case, right? Sometimes you give some other name, and if you don't remember anything, you say Paramjit versus Vijay Kumar. Right? The Supreme Court has said this. Right? And the teacher today, right, I'm sorry to say this, and the teacher today will read that, I don't know if at all they read the evaluation, right? They read and say, oh my God, this Paramjit versus Vijay Kumar I have not come across, and therefore this student must be good, I will give 1 mark more than what is required. Right? And I think this is not new. There are umpteen number of instances that have taken place in the US. And I think in India also the Supreme Court has put a couple of lawyers. And the Karnataka High Court recently passed severe strictures against a district judge who went little ahead. Right? He quoted 3 judgments which were not even mentioned by the petitioner's lawyer or the respondent's lawyer. Right? I think these type of issues will start coming in, and we are treating with a large quantum of data. Something will be missing, and therefore I was also a student of programming. Right, 1976 I did my computer programming, Fortran 4. Right, and what my teacher taught in the first class, I think I still cherish it, and I also would like to share it with you. The information that you get, garbage in and garbage out. What you feed in comes out. So the prompt that you ask is equally important. That is why we have to tell, many of the Western universities are saying, use ChatGPT. No, nothing wrong in it, use ChatGPT. But your analysis is final, right? And that capability of analyzing certain things, giving in your own words, today people even stop writing. And some of the, including Harvard University, I was told, is going back to paper and pen. Right? All these revolutions will take place. I will not take much of your time. I think it is a huge challenge for all of us to understand the implications. And I think we have to join hands together. We thought management is different, psychology is different. And I always discuss with Professor Bhandari that we need to rope in management experts and also psychology experts, right, to make it even more complete so that we understand the implications better and safeguard the interest of people, not only this country, world over. I take this opportunity to thank the organizers for providing me this opportunity to share some of this.
Thank you, sir, for your profound and thought-provoking address. Your words and experience enriched our understanding on AI and social justice. Your reflection, drawing a metaphorical connection between artificial intelligence and the unseen, deeply felt presence of God, have offered us with a unique perspective. We are sincerely grateful to you for inspiring us with a new perspective of AI and warfare as a future area of academic discourse. Now, moving forward, I would like to introduce an eminent personality of international repute, our special guest of honor, Honorable Justice Mohan Paris. He is a distinguished legal professional who was enrolled as an attorney at law of the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka in 1975 and as a solicitor of England and Wales in 1978. He was appointed Attorney General of Sri Lanka in 2008, Senior Legal Advisor to the Cabinet Ministers in 2011, and as the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka in 2013. He later represented Sri Lanka as its permanent perspective representative to the United Nations in 2021 and continues to be actively engaged in legal academia and international arbitration. I would like to inform you that he is unable to be physically present for the occasion, however, have his address recorded. May I now request the technical team to kindly play the recorded address.
Namaskar to all, honorable chief guests, distinguished guests, members of the academia, members of the faculty, and my dear students. On the intersection of law and technology and its impact on legal education, the legal profession, and justice administration. My dear friends, it is almost a sine qua non that today the law student confronts legal questions embedded in code. Mediated through platforms are often decided in milliseconds by systems that do not disclose their reasoning. Now, the challenge is deeper than curriculum reform. Legal education must cultivate the capacity to interrogate technology, not merely to use it. In other words, what am I saying? I'm saying that a lawyer must be able to ask what assumptions are captured in an algorithm, what values have been privileged and which have been obscured, whilst guiding against a subtle erosion. So it must be appreciated that law is not reducible to efficiency. It is not an engineering problem to be optimized. It is at its core a moral enterprise, one that is concerned with justice, dignity, and the equitable ordering of society. It is therefore, my dear friends, not difficult to see that no digital platform can substitute the moral inquiry. It is therefore an indispensable must that legal education incorporates constitutional literacy in the age of artificial intelligence, training students to interrogate algorithmic outputs for compliance with Articles 14 and 21 of your Constitution. Ethical reasoning, I believe, should accompany technical training. Why? To ensure artificial intelligence applications uphold human dignity and human rights. Lawyers of the future, I believe, must also be equipped to draft, critique, and litigate artificial intelligence governance frameworks while preserving normative values. You will see that the implications of artificial intelligence for legal education today are profound. If law schools focus solely on familiarizing students with AI tools, they, I say, risk producing lawyers who are technologically proficient but normatively disarmed. It is important that we guard against this contingency, as such an education may inadvertently legitimize opaque governance and weaken constitutional culture. My dear friends, law, you will appreciate, is not a neutral technique, but a human and deliberative practice. Courts listen, it reasons, it explains and persuades. These practices are constitutive of what? Of legitimacy. So while AI may assist in information processing, it cannot replace human responsibility to judge. Moral reasoning, empathy, and contextual understanding are non-delegable features of justice, and that's important to appreciate. It is therefore common ground that India is witnessing the emergence of a new professional perhaps emergence of new professional identifiers. We see today legal technologists, data protection specialists, compliance architects, particularly in the wake of evolving regulatory frameworks such as the digital personal data protection regime. Yet, we see that alongside this evolution arises concerns that must not be understated. No doubt, technology promises access, but we may also produce, you will appreciate, stratification. It is therefore not difficult to foresee a future where large sections of the community would receive automated, standardized legal solutions, while the few retain access to bespoke legal counsel. It must therefore be appreciated that if that divide hardens, the profession risks losing its ethical center. It was that great jurist, your great jurist, Nani Palkiwala, who reminded us that the work of a lawyer is not a trade. It is a profession, he said, one that carries with it a duty to society. It is that duty that we, as educationists, must now extend into the technological domain. My dear friends, legal education must therefore, in my view, equip future lawyers to interrogate AI constitutionally, ethically, and humanly. Now, this requires integrating constitutional law of critical reasoning rather than passive adaptation. The educational task before us identified here, I would have thought gives institutional form to the constitutional principles that I have spoken of a few minutes earlier. Now, just to say a quick word about artificial intelligence in the service of human development. Artificial intelligence presents an unavoidable challenge to contemporary legal systems. For constitutional democracies in the global south, the central question is not whether AI will be adopted, but how it will be governed. So, as law schools celebrate institutional excellence, your responsibility extends beyond technological literacy. The task before legal education is, such as yourselves, is to cultivate constitutional stewards capable of questioning algorithmic authority and safeguarding the human purposes of the law. Artificial intelligence, my dear friends, must remain a servant of justice, not its substitute. It is only then, I say, that it can become a genuine facilitator of inclusive human development rather than a threat to it. We cannot lose sight of the fact that procedure established by law includes fairness, reasonableness, and non-arbitrariness. These are not algorithmic values, they are human values. The danger, therefore, is not technology itself, but an uncritical reliance based upon it. I would go on to say that obesity in algorithmic decision-making risks undermining transparency. Consistency may come at the cost of contextual justice. Efficiency may erode empathy. Again, the danger is that if justice becomes incomprehensible, those subject to it, its legitimacy is diminished. It is in this context that I have referred to the matters referred to just a few minutes ago. So what are the implications for legal education in India? It is therefore, I say, an indispensable must that legal education incorporates constitutional literacy in the age of AI. For students to be able to interrogate algorithmic outputs for compliance with Article 14 and 21. I believe that ethical reasoning should accompany technical training to ensure that AI applications uphold human dignity and human rights. Lawyers of the future, as I said, must be equipped to draft, critique, and mitigate AI governance frameworks while preserving normative values. My dear friends, I am sensitive to the fact that every generation of lawyers believe itself to be at the moment of transition. But the current moment, I say, seems surely different. Surely different. For the first time, you will see, the tools we have created are not merely assisting us, they are beginning to shape the very structure of legal reasoning. I believe that the task before us is not to resist technology, nor to perhaps embrace it uncritically. We must ensure that technology enhances but not replace our judgment. That innovation advances but not erode justice. That efficiency improves but not dehumanize the legal process. My dear friends, the law must remain what it has always aspired to be, a discipline of reason, a guardian of rights, and above all a reflection of our collective conscience. In that endeavor, the future will not be decided by machines, not at all. It will be decided by the legal fraternity, lawyers, judges, scholars, and by the values we as educationists choose to uphold. I wish to conclude this presentation with the final thought that in an age of artificial intelligence, the greatest challenge is not to make machines think like humans, but to ensure that we humans do not begin to think like machines. We often speak of technology as tools that help us research faster, draft better, and manage cases efficiently. But this is perhaps an incomplete understanding. Technology today is not merely instrumental, it is structural. It redistributes power between state and citizen, corporation and regulator, judge and algorithm, lawyer, client, and law student. So the real leadership challenge for us, therefore, is not teaching our students, the future lawyers, how to use technology, but preparing them to understand, to interrogate, and govern technological power shifts without, I say without, surrendering the core values of the legal profession. So what then is the nature of the technological power shift? My dear friends, there are three interlinked shifts that deserve your attention. Firstly, think about it. Decision-making power is increasingly delegated to automated systems. Secondly, the information asymmetry has widened. We need to be warned about it. And thirdly, speed itself has become a form of power. Legal reasoning is deliberative, technology is instantaneous. The pressure to conform law to technological tempo, I say, risks flattening due process into mere efficiency. So our leadership in legal education must begin by recognizing that technology reshapes the ecology of power, not merely legal practice. So why then the traditional legal training? Why do I say that traditional legal training is insufficient? You will see that conventional legal education excels at teaching what? Doctrine, precedent, adversarial reasoning. But it was designed, you will appreciate, it was designed for a world where decision makers were human. Authority was visible. Accountability was traceable. My dear friends, the world is changing. A lawyer trained only to apply the law, I say, risks becoming subordinate to technological systems they do not understand. They are unable to challenge algorithmic outcomes or defend constitutional values in digital spaces. So what am I asking? I say that leadership requires us to ask, are we producing technically efficient legal service providers or guardians of legality in a technologically mediated society? Think about it. So what is the leadership or reorientation that we need? I say that we need to move from skills acquisition to power literacy. True leadership in reorienting legal education and professional formation along three axes. Firstly, power literacy over technical mastery. Secondly, normative anchoring. Thirdly, we need to have the institutional courage. Leaders in our profession, such as yourselves, judges, academics, bar associations, must resist the temptation to outsource judgments. The duty to decide, explain, and justify cannot be automated away. So, my dear friends, preparing our future lawyers means cultivating moral courage to challenge technologically convenient but legally unjust outcomes. So, what am I talking about? Or whom am I talking about? I am talking about the lawyer as mediator between technology and society. Are we ready to produce them? In this evolving landscape, the lawyer's role, you will see, expands to become a translator between technical systems and human consequences, a check on unchecked technological authority, a custodian of constitutional values in digital governance. Now, this is, I would say, particularly vital in our part of the world where technological adoption often precedes regulatory maturity. Our regulations come much after the technology is in place, and where important systems may not reflect local constitutional culture. Finally, I say that leadership as stewardship is the order of the day of the legal future. We have a responsibility to prepare lawyers for technological power shifts, and that is ultimately our leadership task, not a curricular adjustment. It demands something else. It demands to search for ourselves. It demands intellectual humility, normative clarity, institutional reform. My dear friends, the question is not whether technology will transform law. It already has. Let's not make a mistake about that. The real question is whether we are preparing our law students to reshape that transformation or quietly adapt to it. Leadership, my dear friends, simply means ensuring that even in an algorithmic age, law remains a human, reasoned, and accountable enterprise. We are currently, as you see, witnessing a tectonic shift, if I was to use that expression, in the legal profession. For decades, the power in law was rooted in informational monopoly. We, the legal fraternity, had exclusive access to case law, statutes, and the ability to manually synthesize them. Today, the power is shifting. It has already shifted. Right? Technology, specifically agentic AI, meaning a class of artificial systems designed to act autonomous agents. They don't just respond to prompts, but can plan, decide, and carry out multiple steps to achieve goals with limited human supervision. So you will see that it represents a shift from AI as a tool to AI as a collaborator or an operator. So if I was to sum it up in one line, agentic AI is AI that doesn't just answer, it acts. You will also see predictive analytics, meaning the use of data, statistical methods, and machine learning to forecast what is likely to happen in the future, and in regard to past patterns and present data. In one line again, predictive analytics turns data into foresight, but not certainty. But it has democratized information and automated what I would describe as the rites of passage, meaning research, drafting, and discovery, that once defined our lawyers' values. As leaders, therefore, our primary challenge is no longer just adopting technology, it is preparing our students to thrive in a world where the machine handles the logic, leaving us humans to handle the judgment.
Thank you, sir, for this enlightening address highlighting the ethical reasoning in the training and development of artificial intelligence while emphasizing the transformative implications of artificial intelligence in legal education and legal profession. With that enlightening address setting a powerful context, we now move to the most significant moment of this inaugural session. It is my esteemed privilege to introduce our chief guest, Honorable Justice Augustine George Massey. He has served as an additional judge of the Punjab and Haryana High Court in 2008 and became a permanent judge in 2011, later being elevated as Chief Justice of the Rajasthan High Court in 2023. He was appointed as a judge of the Supreme Court of India in November 2023, bringing with him extensive judicial experience across diverse areas of law. With great honor and respect, I now request Sir to kindly address the gathering.
Professor Mr. Vijay Kumar, Professor Paramjit Jaiswal, Mr. Virendra Kumar Verma, Registrar, Dr. Gaurav Kataria, Principal, Professor Bhandari, dear friend Manish, Professor Vijay Singh, Dean Law, SRM University, Professor Komal, Dean, Amity Law School, Rita Kohli, member NCLT Jaipur Bench, principals, faculty, participants, students and staff. Well, it's a huge privilege to be here amongst you. I'll make an effort now when I'm at a stage where I've reached a stage where I think most of the things have been said. We could have thought of it and could have visualized. As a judge, I could have. But the one thing which actually comes to my mind is the name of the university itself is based upon Dr. Ambedkar, who, as far as we are concerned, and I'll be speaking more on the judicial aspect, because that's one field I'm comfortable with. Maybe the other fields I may talk about, but I'm not very sure about. So therefore, I'd like to come to that field, which is, well, my familiar field, I must call it. Because I started with that, I am into it now, reached a stage where God has been kind enough to help me out in various occasions and various stages. So, if you look at it from that point of view, we are brought up with a constitution which has been framed or guided by the person on whom the name of the university stands. It did not merely it wasn't the laws only, but he chartered it out and thought of it to convert this country, which was at a nascent state, suppressed from all sides, into a nation which would be enlightened, a nation which would be growing in all fields, not only on the economic and social fronts, but above all, where each one would have his vision or her vision achieved and established. That's what the concept was of our Constitution. The theme, as has been pointed out, is Artificial Intelligence and Social Justice for Viksit Bharat 2047, which has been chosen, which I think is a tribute and timely tribute to the person who was the architect of our Constitution. Social justice has always been our ongoing national project. And it is a solemn promise that the law should serve all people, not merely the privileged few. That was how it was intended and it was perceived. As artificial intelligence begins to reshape the very model of our institutions, our task is to ensure that this technological revolution does not become a new frontier for our exclusions, the old exclusions. Let us make this occasion an opportunity to share about what artificial intelligence promises for us, the challenges which it throws to us. I would like to project two situations. One, a part of it has already been touched upon by Professor Vijay, and I have conceptualized in a way that we can probably, the young lawyers can, or the new students who are here, can relate it to. A young advocate is preparing a written submission for the complex commercial dispute. It's past midnight. The deadline to submit the submissions is approaching. He finds himself in a tight corner, moves on, and finds artificial intelligence to be a way out, goes in for that, and taps in an artificial legal research tool. And that's what happens, because the limit is there, he has no option, marta kya nahi karta. And he's new, he doesn't know where to go, how to do, or probably didn't utilize the time when he had at his resources and was doing other things. So ultimately, the machine works for him, he gets the result, he has no time to cross-check it. He puts a problem that give me citations, 8 citations, list of 8 citations. The judgments are there, it's all very well drafted, carved out, paragraphs are there, everything is there. Submissions are made. And then in the court, in the morning it's submitted, in the afternoon the matter is listed, the opposite counsel obviously gets it. He tries to find out, as pointed out by Professor. And then the counsel, since the young lawyer had not cross-checked it, he actually was stunned when it came to know that there is no citation. He said, okay. Then the judge obviously is annoyed. And the result at times can be very drastic. This is one aspect which I wanted to point out. If you look at it, how it works basically, the citations are not fabrications, I won't call it fabrication. These are hallucinations of the AI. Just imagine the plight which the counsel would have faced. In fact, let me put it to you, we have faced it in the Supreme Court. Our bench, I was a part of it. we did get a reply, a written reply which was submitted to a case where we did have citations with neatly carved out paragraphs also, paragraph numbers mentioned. Fortunately, the matter had not started, therefore it wasn't that bad. But it can happen, it did happen. The opposite counsel was fair enough to inform him beforehand that I haven't been able to find out the cases which you have cited. Citation was there, very much there. And everything clear, and I'm sure had the council not cross-checked it, we would have probably also gone by that, because the opposite council also has not pointed out to us. So believing, we would have probably gone with that. But let me tell you, after that, we have been cross-checking every citation which is made. We have stopped, therefore, relying finally on the council. But what I'm only wanting to try and project through this is, it can be very harmful and dangerous for the institution as such. One case may not be very important, but the thing would be the precedent value of that, the spiraling effect it may have on our system. A judgment by the Supreme Court is binding on all courts. By the time it is cured or the defect is removed, the effect would be just drastic at times. So we need to be careful about that. The other example also I would refer to was that of another scene, the second scene, where in a remote district in rural area, a non-invasive IA diagnostic tool is scanning the early stage breast cancer or other diseases where there is no hospitals, no technology available. So many of the people, the patients who would be detecting and can get ultimately so many ways and means are available which can be utilized for that. These could be the benefits of the algorithms. So the gap between the tool that deceives with perfect confidence and the tool that saves with quite precision is the space we must govern. So my suggestion would be that let us be the governors and not running away from the algorithm altogether. The AI is not bad. It is we who need to control how it works and not fairly depend on them. Research projects that within this decade, it is so said that 90% of online content may be synthetically generated by the machines. There is not going to be an era of original things now. It will all be generated. You need to work on it. AI can now clone human voice. That's what I've been told, in seconds. And I think 2024 general elections, we would have all faced the messages which we got from political leaders in our own languages, in our own dialects. These were all, I'm sure, not given by the leaders. They were all AI generated. Then you have endorsements from so many film stars, which ultimately turned out that they had never said so. They did not endorse any political party or even the thoughts and their ways they think. This could again be a problem. The most troublesome would be the opacity, as was pointed out. There is a research carried out which revealed that facial recognition system fails at dramatically higher rates for darker skinned women than for lighter skinned men. Well, you can just imagine the effect thereof. Similarly, healthcare algorithms have been found to be systematically under-prioritized marginalized groups. That's another aspect. This is another research which has been there. So my skin can be determinative at times if we go by the algorithmic results which are coming out. The bias could be sexual based. It could even be based on regions. It could even be based upon the strata of the society I belong to. I'm not talking about the factum of whether the caste and creed also matters or not. That could also be a factor. So this, and to this extent, the effect can be, and we can't blame them for that, the algorithm for that, because it's a machine which did not actually invent the bias. It has in fact inherited it because the data which was fed ultimately made it work. And then it has over a period of time created and generated for itself a result which is projected. There's another been a study where for 10 years the information was fed with regard to an aspect rather I'll put it the other way around. Amazon, we all know it. I don't think we need to explain it, but then they simply created a tool for hiring people for appointment. Well, it turned out, I'm cutting it short, it turned out that wherever women word was there, they would actually have a bias against it. And they would by and large, despite being a very good resume, would give preference to males. They had to ultimately cut it off. And in fact, they withdrew it. And they moved on ultimately to personal analysis on their own. So these are things which could be dangerous to that extent. In Indian context, if you talk about our training data reflects our deep-seated inequities for caste, gender, and geography. And let me move on to the aspect where if we try and use this algorithm for, say, helping out the judges to assess the suitability of a victim or put it the accused, to assess whether he would be a person who is likely to run away or escape. The study has ultimately turned out that in a bail application which was there, well, let me put it to you, it is based upon the earlier data, not really in the real context, but we can't simply rely upon the data we have collected or the artificial. The person would languish in jail, he would not get bail. Now it may ultimately turn out that after the trial, the person is acquitted. A young man of 21 years, maybe 19 years, he loses those years. He may lose a year of education things which cannot be left to technology alone. That's where the human aspect comes in. And that's where the role of judge is there. And not only the judge, the lawyers. Because it is they who actually bring these facts and other aspects to the notice of the court. What I'm trying to say is that, especially to the teachers out here and the students, we should not give much importance to technology alone. The human aspect, the life. Our lives are different altogether. We are all different human beings. We are not machines. Technology is good as far as that is the working of the mechanical aspects are concerned. Industries have, in fact, found it to be very helpful and effective, where you are to produce mass production products. But this is not true for the humans. I'm not for a moment suggesting that we need to turn back again to the same systems which we were working. There are so many promises also. As has been pointed out earlier, that we have already had in 2025, the Supreme Court had given up that, where we are using it for the betterment. Translations are there. Now the Supreme Court has worked out with MIT Madras, where there is automation as far as the finding out of the defects are concerned. We are trying to remove the human aspect wherever it is essential and can be done away with. But that does not mean that we can wish off the real facts that technology is there and is going to be there for times to come. So what I was only trying to say is, the Supreme Court and in fact our Chief Justice have said about it. He said that the Supreme Court portal for assistance in court efficiency is representative of an elevation of the craft of judging, where technology handles the clerical to liberate the creative. What has been sought to be projected is, let the clerical things be handled by the AI, and as far as the creativity and the decision making is concerned, that should be left to the courts. All the aspects with regard to the finding out of the defects and other things should be done by the algorithms, but decisions should always be of the court. This is a golden rule. Technology can manage the filing, the defect detection, the asset verification, the legal research, but the creative and the exercise conscience and the weighing of human dignity and the pursuit of equity must remain with the domain of a human judge. Why I am using the word human judge is that, as I pointed out, algorithms are there, they also decide. They do give decisions, but the human aspect can never be there. It cannot be replaced. The Constitution must remain our supreme algorithm, and no efficiency drive, however worthy, can dilute that command. So, what I am primarily trying to say is, the guiding force should always be the Constitution and the merely the urge to decide cases and finish cases. Well, I've been saying that and I strongly feel that. It's always been said that there are so many cases pending in court. True. Why don't we look at it from the other point of view? The faith the people have in this system. This is one system on which the people have faith. And it still continues. Difficulties we may have, but still we are working. Well, I do have the data to show as to how many cases are filed and how many disposed of. But still, we have not been able to cope up with that. But let me tell you, of late, in high courts and in the Supreme Court also, including our court, the number of filings and disposal in most of the high courts have come down. So the disposal is more than what the filing is. This is the positive side of it. That it could be attributed to some extent on the technology also. I'm not running away from that. But then, let me tell you, the decision making has always been of the judges and it is through them. And I strongly feel that this is one which can never be replaced and should be ever thought of replacing. So these are the aspects which generally we are talking of. But since we are talking about the futuristic aspect, we are looking for 2047. So my suggestion would be, I have 5 propositions for all of us to deliberate upon. The first is we must legislate. But that I was talking about is the digital aspect. We have made a beginning. We have already had one statute. But I think it needs a lot of work to be done on that. The workability and other aspects have to be gone into. The other aspect would be I would want and I would urge the lawyers and the teachers now to really look into this aspect and help out the legislature in the aspect of bringing in law which is workable, practical, and wherever possible, humane. Let's not merely go in for technology. We need a framework where in this high AI risk system, especially which is used by the state, are subject of audit, independent audits, fundamental rights impactment and assessment, and no citizen would be denied the benefit by a machine without knowing why. The second aspect would be we must build judicial AI literacy, which I have highlighted. We do not need judges to become coders, but yes, it is time that we also start, the judges also start, getting familiarized with the system as it works. And the future judges, in any case, you are training. So I would urge you, the teachers, to make them aware of it, how to make use of it, and obviously be a part of the system. Then we have the Puttaswamy fourfold test, which is the aspect with regard to the personal liberty. First is the legality thereof. It has to clear the law authorization it uses. Legitimate aim, it is serving a necessary state interest. Proportionality is, it is least intrusive way to achieve the interest. And then the procedural safeguards. Is there a mechanism to challenge the machine's decision? That is one aspect which we have the protecting of the workforce with millions of roles at risk of displacement, as was pointed out. I would again emphasize thereon is it's now time that the state and the government should work and think of preparing people for being ready for the system which they want and we want to come in. But think of the people who are working, the type of jobs which we are doing. Most of them are manual or maybe clerical. They may lose them if they are not trained with the latest AI techniques. I'm sure there will be work available for all of us, all people who are working, but in a different form. And for that, we need to be trained and prepared, and that form should be made available. State can mandate in-house unskilled and reskilled program for employers, requiring companies deploying AI in the informal and organized sectors, train their existing workforce for the changed nature of the work. Workers can transcend into rules focused on monitoring and verifying the AI output. AI is not merely a technology. It is becoming a constitutional ally, one that can translate the visionary ideals of the directive principles into the measurable outcome of the ground. But only if we govern it with the same seriousness and with which the Constitution demands their outcome. Well, I would like to really move on to an area. I've touched the aspect with regard to the human aspect, but let me emphasize thereon. We have all been deliberating and thinking of the fundamental rights all through, and it has been the focus of our litigation, and that's what we have been working on. But when we talk of the topic which we are dealing with today, we cannot run away if you look at it from the constitutional point of view. The fundamental duties, apart from the directive principles. In fact, our directive principles are all social reforms which have been thought of and assumed. Let that now, through artificial intelligence, be made a source to be achieved. Let's concentrate on that. Let's think in those terms. AI has not been trained as of now on the emotional aspect. I'm not sure whether it will ever be. This is one aspect which needs to be taken care of. It has not been trained in compassion. It's not been trained in the kind of wisdom that can only come from looking a human being in the eye and asking yourself, what does justice require of me today? Just think of the person I had talked of who could not get bail had it been left to the algorithm. It is the human heart which can understand the difficulties of a person, a human being, not the machine. It is the counsel who can actually project the true facts and situations to the court. And it is the teachers who will train the future lawyers and judges as to how we work with the artificial intelligence and the human aspect. Psychology, emotions, feelings, these are all part of the system. We cannot run away from that. But I would urge at this moment, as most of you are the leaders of the academia to please look at it and bring in and bring out lawyers, judges, and future leaders maybe in various fields, because it's you who do it. So I would urge you and thank you all for giving me an occasion to hear and put forth my opinion. But I am glad that despite the light having gone off, you were able to sustain with me. And thank you very much for giving me this occasion for being amongst you. And a place where I have been for a short time, but have wonderful thoughts and experiences which I had with these people. Thank you very much and wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir. Your address has not only illuminated the theme of this conference with the real-life incidences, but has also reminded us of the enduring role of law in shaping just and equitable society. Your words carry the weight of judicial wisdom and the vision of constitutional values. Your insightful aspects of future with AI, like legislation of AI, judicial literacy, and upskilling of the forces, leaves us with much to reflect upon. Thank you once again, sir. Now, I am privileged to inform you all that we have with us Ms. Rita Kohli, member of NCLT Jaipur branch. I would like to request ma'am to join us on the dignitaries on the dais. Now I would like to request our Madam Vice Chancellor to felicitate Ms. Rita Kohli. We now move to a significant and forward-looking moment of this conference, the exchange of Memorandum of Understanding between Global Academy of Law, Tech, Education and Research and Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar Law University, Jaipur. GALTER is a unique research-oriented educational academy dedicated to the interface of emerging and highly disruptive technologies such as blockchain, cryptocurrencies, digital assets, fintech, IoT, artificial intelligence, and the metaverse, while promoting their effective ethico-legal framework through an experienced pool of experts from the field of education, law, science and technology, management, and allied disciplines. With a vision of recreating innovative global tools and techniques for the harmonization and responsible application of emerging technologies, GALTER strives to promote world-class research and educational services that foster deeper understanding, meaningful innovation, and effective regulation of these evolving technological domains. We are honored to have with us Professor Dr. M.K. Bhandari, founder and director of GALTER, an eminent legal academician and scholar with decades of contribution to legal education, research, and technology law.
May I now request Professor Dr. M.K. Bhandari and Shri Virendra Kumar Verma, RAS Registrar of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar Law University to kindly proceed with signing of Memorandum of Understanding. I now respectfully invite Madam Vice Chancellor and Professor Dr. M.K. Bhandari to kindly proceed for the formal exchange of Memorandum of Understanding. Ladies and gentlemen, may we have a round of applause for this meaningful academic collaboration and the shared vision it represents for the future of legal education and emerging technologies.
Namaskar. Good afternoon. Before I say a few words, I understand and fully conscious that the time is exceeding, but I think it is my privilege and duty to say a few words. But before that, I would like to present our recently concluded Mega Global Summit at Hyderabad, in which Madam Professor Jaswal all were there. The abstract of those articles to Honorable Justice Honorable Justice Sandeep Mehta ji from Supreme Court, Justice M.R. Shah, Justice A.K. Sikri, Justice Govind Raj from Karnataka High Court, Justice Dinesh Maheshwari, Member Law Commission. They all were present physically, and of course Justice Mohan Pieri attended online. So it was 3 days mega summit. Second thing is, as Nishta Bhavi, as we used to say, is a great poet. So I think I must present this collection of poems, The Invisible Law, written by one of my friend, our friend rather, Professor Subodh C. Roy, who presented this to me in Nagaland recently. I am presenting it to you.
Done. Just a minute. Okay.
As Galton has already been introduced by our friend, this is a momentous occasion when we are signing and exchanging MOU in the august presence of Honorable Justice Augustine George. It is, in fact, if I say, judicial imprimatur, a judicial recognition of the fact. Friends, Galton is India's unique pioneering global academy with a team of 250 members representing every discipline of the knowledge and learning across the world. And this MOU is our 35th MOU. 10 are overseas MOU with different universities, 3 are in pipeline with Portugal University, US University, one of the US University, and Mexico University. They are in process. And 25 MOUs, including SRM University, MIT University Patna, ICFI, NLU Delhi, Jindal Global University. They are our knowledge partners, and we have MOU with them. So it's a privilege and honor. And we are focusing on one important aspect about which all the learned speakers have highlighted: training, education, and research in the emerging areas of technologies, what we call them as an umbrella term, deep tech. Tomorrow, during my valedictory, I will try to address some of the important issues raised by honorable speakers here. I again thank Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Nishtha Jaswal Madam for signing this MOU with us, and together we have already highlighted what we are going to do in 2026 and 2027. So we will work together, we will sit together and plan out the program. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. As we come to the concluding segment of the inaugural session, it is now my privilege to invite Shri Virendra Kumar Verma, RAS, Registrar of Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar Law University, Jaipur, to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
Our Chief Guest, Honorable Mr. Justice Augustine George Massey, Judge Supreme Court of India. Our special guest of honor, Honorable Mr. Justice Mohan Pieris, former Chief Justice of Sri Lanka and permanent representative to the United Nations. The guest of honor, Professor V. Vijay Kumar, former Vice Chancellor, NLIU, Bhopal. The special guest, Professor Paramjit S. Jaswal, Vice Chancellor, University Sonipat. Our visionary Vice Chancellor, Professor Nishtha Jaswal, delegates, principals, faculty members, fellow officers, staff, and dear students. Before I extend our formal gratitude, I am reminded of a profound verse from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad that perfectly encapsulates the spirit of this gathering. Kshatrasya kshatram yad dharmah tasmat dharmat param nasti. This means justice is the king of kings. There is nothing higher than justice. Truly, justice is supreme. It is a momentous and historic day for our university. We are profoundly honored to have with us our chief guest, Honorable Mr. Justice Augustine George Massey, Judge Supreme Court of India. Sir, your presence here is a source of great inspiration. Having served as the Chief Justice of the Rajasthan High Court, your return to Jaipur for this academic cause feels like a homecoming to the legal fraternity here. Sir, your insightful address has provided us with the judicial compass needed to navigate the complexities of artificial intelligence while keeping social justice is at the center of our efforts. We are deeply indebted to your Lordship for your time and your visionary guidance. Thank you so much, sir. It is a distinct honor for us to have Honorable Mr. Justice Mohan Pieris, former Chief Justice of Sri Lanka and permanent representative to the United Nations, as our special guest of honor. Though his crucial diplomatic responsibilities at the UN headquarters, he couldn't present in person, yet he has graciously sent a video message for us, specifically for this occasion. This gesture reflects his deep commitment to legal scholarship and his affection for our university. Sir, your words will provide us the necessary international perspective on AI and social justice. Thank you very much, sir. I also extend our sincere gratitude to Professor V. Vijay Kumar, today's keynote speaker and former Vice Chancellor, NLIU, Bhopal, for his thought-provoking keynote address. Sir, your scholarly wisdom and vast experience in public law have provided this conference with a brilliant start. Thank you, sir. A special note of thanks equally owed to Professor Paramjit Jaiswal, Vice Chancellor, SRM University, Sonipat, for his enlightening special address. Sir, your legal expertise has added immense value to this session and provided our researchers with a clear roadmap for the days ahead. Now I must express my gratitude to our visionary Vice Chancellor, Professor Mr. Jaiswal. Madam, your vision to align this university with the goals of Vikasit Bharat 2047 is the reason we all are here today to discuss the future of digital jurisprudence. Thank you, madam. My thanks also go to our partner, SS Jain Subodh Law College, for their seamless collaboration. I am also thankful to the delegates, principals, faculty members, fellow officers, staff, and student volunteers for making this session a grand success. As we move from the inauguration to the technical deliberations, I leave you with a thought for the digital age. नई राहों के मुसाफिर हैं, नई राहों के मुसाफिर हैं, नया रास्ता बनाएंगे, हम इल्म की शमा से हर अंधेरा मिटाएंगे. We are travelers of new paths. We shall create new ways. With the lamp of knowledge, we shall erase every darkness. Thank you all. Jai Bharat, Jai Samvidhan.
Thank you, sir, for the gracious vote of thanks and for expressing gratitude on behalf of the university to all the distinguished dignitaries, speakers, and participants. Your words have beautifully marked the conclusion of this inaugural session. As we move forward from this inaugural session, let us remember the future of India will not be shaped by technology alone, but by the values we embed within it. A truly Viksit Bharat nation will not just be digitally advanced, it will be just, inclusive, and humane.
On that note, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to all our dignitaries, speakers, participants, volunteers, and every staff present here. Let us move ahead with a shared purpose to ensure that artificial intelligence does not replace justice but reinforces it. Because in the end, technology may be intelligent, but justice must always remain human. We now request everyone to kindly rise for the national anthem.
Jana Mana Adhinayaka Jaya He Bharata Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkala Vanga Vindhya Himachala Yamuna Ganga Uchala Jaladhi Taranga Tava Shubha Name Jage Tava Shubha Ashish Mange Gahe Tava Jaya Gatha Jana Gana Mangala Dayak Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Jaya He
we formally conclude the inaugural session. Thank you everyone, and I wish you all a truly enriching and inspiring conference ahead. I had some announcements to make. May I kindly request everyone to remain seated for a few moments.
Create a post again.